Hi everyone, this is Gary Greer. This is my summary of the WEST BEST conference that was held virtually on Saturday, February 6th, which was this weekend. And I just wanted to share some of my thoughts and things that I learned at the conference. So let me go ahead and get started. So first of all, I've had the chance to see 6 different presentations over the weekend, and I'd just like to give a quick kind of overview of each presentation, who the presenters were, and a little bit of information for each one. So the first person I saw was, her name was Catherine Sanderson, and she was the keynote speaker. Her whole presentation was about positivity. It was called The Positive Shift, and it was about resilience and during times of trauma, how we can overcome experiences and become stronger. One of the key things that she said was resilience is the process of adapting well in the face of adversity, such as trauma, relationship failures, health problems, or financial stressors. I found this especially relevant to the times we're going through with the COVID pandemic. She also talked about post-traumatic growth, which is kind of the opposite of post-traumatic stress disorder, which most people think about when they think of trauma. But she talked about how after a traumatic experience, how if you kind of flip your mindset, you have the opportunity for growth and to overcome trauma. So I thought that was an interesting way to look at it. One final thing on her session, some strategies for finding happiness amidst adversity. Here's a few quick little quotes. Avoid comparisons. Teddy Roosevelt once said, comparison is the thief of joy, meaning that if you're always comparing yourself or situations to others, you will never be truly happy. Foster wellness, get enough sleep, find your niche, what makes you happy. Find purpose, what is our purpose or what really makes us feel like we've found our place in the world. Another thing she brought up was to give, and it was kind of funny. She said to anyone at any time. So that can mean a lot of things to a lot of people, but it made me think about what I can give to others. Another one was spend time in nature, maintain relationships and connections. She stressed the importance of quality over quantity of relationships. And one last thing that I thought was fun was she said that pets are really a great way that can make you feel better and improve your overall well-being. So let me go on to session 2. Session 2 was called Tech Bits with Hef, and the presenter's name was Lynn Heffley. And her key points, this was really all about kind of creating Bitmoji classrooms, and she gave a lot of very technical information. I'm going to include a summary and an attachment, a Word document. So if you want more information, I'm giving live links to all of these presenters and their contact information, as well as their website information. So you can really get a lot more if you look through my document, and you can go to those live links. But some of her things that she presented were that you want your Bitmoji classroom to represent who you are and kind of what your style or what your actual classroom setup looks like. So if you're going to add features and funny little icons, you kind of want to make it a similar layout or similar design to what your real teaching environment might look like. She also talked about how those Bitmoji classrooms can not only provide information, but they can encourage movement, and even you can include links to assessments and reflection opportunities for your students. Finally, she had some great resources, some things you can look up. One is called Pixabay, where you can download a lot of different pictures to your Bitmoji class. There was another one called animatedimages.org, and one final one, Animoji. I do not have an iPhone, so this is kind of iTunes and iPhone specific, but it was really fun because it can take your avatar and make it look like it's really speaking just like you would be. One final thought on her session was troubleshooting. Make sure that you actually, before you post any links or send it out to your students or families or put it out there to view, that you really go through each part of your Bitmoji classroom or your page. Make sure all the links are working. Make sure that your icons are, she said if your boxes around your icons are too big and they click into different areas, it can affect their ability to pull up information, all that kind of stuff. So that was session 2. Session 3 was by Brian DeVore, and he's got an affiliation with openphysed.org, and so I put a link in my document to him as well. But his session was called Spectacular Teaching Tools for Health and Physical Education. So it was really good. He had a lot of very practical information. The main thing I got out of his were actual links to live things that you could do to spice up your tech and your teaching. Some cool resources he had. One was called classtools.net, and you can find cool sound effects to add in to your class. Makes it kind of fun. There was another one called Teacher Soundboard for that you can find in Google Chrome. One really fun one is called Custom Cursor, which actually changes what your cursor on screen looks like. You can change it into basketballs. You can change it into giant big blue arrows, or just kind of a really cool thing. And another one some of you may have heard of, but it was really neat. It was called Flippity. So at flippity.net. So check those out. Those were some cool tech tips. Next session was the 4th session I saw was called ABC and 1, 2, 3 Early Learning Made Easy by Pam Powers and Lori Gombash. And this was primarily aimed for early childhood education, pre-K, and the primary grades. So there was some great information in this one. I think the one that I liked the best was Pam Powers presented one called The Color Dance. And in the color dance, you basically take some painter's tape, make kind of an X or a cross or a square, not a square, but a cross on your floor for each student. And she suggested the painter's tape because it peels off a lot easier than like duct tape or whatever. And then you put a color, either like a poly spot or a colored card, or even you could even use numbers, and you put one in each of those 4 quadrants, and the kids stand right in the middle of the cross or the X, and then you say a color, and they have to step back and touch that with their foot, and then come back to the middle. Then you say another color, they step back or forward with that foot, and you just teach them a pattern, and each time you say the color or the number, they have to step to that section and then back to the middle. This would be a great way to teach like very simple dance routines or dance patterns, as well as just great motor skill movement in terms of being able to match up your pattern with what their feet are having to do. Session 5 was called Tips and Tricks for Teaching Virtual Secondary Weight Training Classes. I'm an elementary teacher, so this really didn't pertain to me as much, but I thought it would be interesting to find out what people are doing at the secondary level. The presenter was Darren Nolan, and he teaches at Bellingham High School. And he uses a platform for instruction. It's actually called Platform. It's PLT, the number 4, and then M. And you can find that on platform.com if you use that spelling I just told you. And it's really a great program because it allows kids to see workouts on the platform process and then also work out at home, as well as record their own results, keep track of their fitness logs, that kind of stuff. And it looked like a really great program. If I was at the secondary level working with weight training or circuit training, I think I would definitely look into using that. And all that information, of course, I also included links to that in the document that I said would be included with this below this video. So check that out. Okay, my final session was by elementary school teacher from California named Will Potter, and it was called Creating Connections On or Offline. And I linked in my document, I linked to his website, so you can check that out as well. So this presentation was primarily about standards 4 and 5 in our NASP and SHAPE standards. Standard 4 being personal and social responsibility, and standard 5 being recognize the value of health, challenge, enjoyment, self-expression, and social interaction in relation to physical activity. So those are the 2 standards he was focused on. One couple points that he brought up. One was called connection before content, meaning that he realizes the importance of having a personal connection or relationship with each student before you really worry about the content of whatever it is you're teaching. He wants to make sure his kids feel secure, feel that they are able to share with him and their classmates in a safe environment. And then he also had another quote, Maslow before Bloom. Of course, Maslow talking about the hierarchy of needs with talking about physiological and safety needs needing to be met before anyone can learn or advance to like the self-actualization part where we're all trying to get to. Will Potter was his name. He did a great job of just really showing what kind of teacher he is, even in the short presentation I saw. And you can tell he's very personable, and he's got a great way of connecting with people, and I'm sure that his kids really enjoy being in his classes. So in summary, like I told you, I've provided links to all of the presenters that I just talked about, and that'll be in my document if you want to check that out, that I included here. And like I said, it was a great conference, and I learned a lot. And if you want to check out those websites and everything, I think you'll get a lot of great information as well. All right, thanks for listening.